I was 17 years old, and at the height of my athletic ability, I was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia. Post-chemotherapy, I had no choice but to undergo a bone marrow transplant to increase my chances of survival. Prior to my diagnosis, I was running about 6 days a week, having my sights set on the Australian Schoolboys Cross-Country Championships in Tasmania. I was young, fit, healthy, but that was all quickly taken away.
As a young girl, I was never your super sporty kind of kid. I was always interested in other pursuits. By no means would I have been referred to as an elite athlete, or an athlete at all for that matter of fact. I had a heart and double lung transplant due to congenital heart disease and pulmonary hypertension, which was diagnosed at birth. After suffering a cardiac arrest when I was just 23, I was considered a high risk of sudden death, but thankfully was carefully monitored until I could no longer be managed by medication, at which point a heart and double lung transplant was my only chance for survival.
I was just 37 years old, fit and healthy, when I started to feel weak and lethargic. All of a sudden, I needed to sleep constantly, and I started to get swelling around my ankles. I was completely shocked to discover I had a rare form of kidney disease, nephrotic syndrome, FSGS, and if this wasn't treated, I would die within 3 years.
At the time of the transplant, I was nervous and afraid because of the nature of the transplant itself. The person I was and knew no longer looked back at me in the mirror, rather a shell of the person that I used to be. At this point, I was at my lowest and desperately trying to find a way out, an avenue to regain my strength and ability, and once again be the person I knew myself to be. For me, that was always running. The doctors at the time told me to be patient and simply just rest, but this wasn't enough. I remember one night having a bag of chemo still connected to the lines in my arm and deciding to go for a run on the treadmill. Within a few minutes of running the treadmill, however, I probably pushed it a bit too hard and passed out. I wanted so desperately to be the person I was once again and forget about the terrible morbidity that was my life in hospital.
Around the time of my transplant, I felt mentally and physically drained. My body was constantly aching and my mobility was quickly worsening. For somebody who hadn't been interested in sports when they were healthy, now certainly wasn't the time to try something new. I remember questioning whether I would ever be able to walk upstairs again, let alone lead an active lifestyle. Every day I could only be as positive as I could be. Not knowing whether a transplant would become available in time was having terrible effects on my mental well-being. The 6 months leading into my transplant was the absolute hardest. I was frustrated because I was not allowed to go places by myself, as I was a high risk of sudden death, and required somebody to at least accompany me everywhere I went.
The transplant itself physically and mentally threw me. I was simply a shadow of the person I knew myself to be, and that was very difficult for me to handle. Leading up to my transplant, I knew I had to rebuild myself back to what I was, and the best way to do this was through physical exercise. I continued to play team sport. In fact, I was on the tennis court 1 week before my transplant. This kept me in good spirit, as exercise and movement are crucial to a healthy state of mind, resilience and strong body. I accept my journey for what it was and aspire to inspire others facing the same challenges.
In life before leukemia, always active, very engaged with sport amongst my friends and with the school sports. I love being outdoors and being engaged with the world around me. So when my transplant was completed, that's where I decided to start my new life. Living a physically active lifestyle helped me to find physical and mental strength I needed to rejoin my social network, to be re-engaged with the life outside and to strive for more, to find my potential and to go out there and achieve what I enjoy the most. For me, it was a snowball effect. The more I participated, the more active I became, the more strength I gained, and the more I became myself. And I developed that intrinsic value to believe and enjoy the life outside and really love everything that I had. Physiologically, stronger, practicing resilience and achieving greater heights. It gave me the confidence and competence to go after what I want and pursue everything that I desire in life.
When I was sick, I always dreamt of being able to be active and to participate in events like triathlons. Even though I had never been very active before my transplant, this didn't stop me from making up for lost time as soon as I was able to, and to take on anything and everything that came my way. Being physically able is a gift, and I was determined to make the most of every opportunity it afforded me. This greatly improved my mental health and sped up my recovery process. I kind of feel like I was always an active person mentally, but physically I had to wait until I had received my transplant before I could actually take part in physical activities that I longed. I guess something needs to be taken away from you to realise how important it actually is.
For me, it was never a question of being motivated to live a healthy lifestyle again, as I never stopped. It was crucial for my mental well-being to stay positive and active as my health was taken away from me, and I experienced firsthand the physical decline of not only my ability to function on a daily basis, but my mental health as well. My mental strength and the ability to maintain focus and determination to move forward returned through this greatest gift, the gift of organ donation. I was never going to take that for granted. Being healthy, strong, fit and well has been the greatest feeling of all, and it helps every other aspect of my life come together as one.
Physical activity really is a magic pill. Regardless of your age, ability or situation, we all know this. But physical activity doesn't have to be performance-based or goal-oriented or to achieve world records, but simply just to start. One step at a time, and you can start to receive the benefits. All we need to do is just take that extra step each day, and that's where the benefits come from. Both mentally and physically, we can start to develop a greater sense of our potential.
It's literally the greatest medicine, and people should be grateful that they are physically equipped to actually move freely. Not only is physical activity physically beneficial, but the mental benefits are substantial and can extend into other areas of your life, regardless of your age. I think people get intimidated when physical exercise is mentioned, like they need to go and run a marathon. But all that really matters is that they take the time to move, to get the blood pumping around their body and breathe the precious gift of life into their lungs.
I got involved in the first transplant games in 2014 in Melbourne. I always played tennis and participated in sprints at school, so I was confident to put my name down for those activities, but also thought I would challenge myself in other areas as this was a new beginning and I wanted to challenge myself on a different level. To my surprise, I met many recipients like myself. Everyone was willing to have a crack at new and different things. We didn't care if we won or lost or how many medals we won, as we were all winners in the game of life, as here we were competing against only ourselves on a world stage, showing how the human spirit can rise above the hardships we've all had to endure and promote organ donation and the gift of life.
Participating in physical activity is amazing. It gives those who have nearly had their whole world taken away from them the opportunity to either go back to what was previously familiar to them, or provides recipients who could never previously be physically active the opportunity to step out of their comfort zone and to try something for what might be the first time. There is no greater feeling than experiencing your first ever race, feeling the breeze on your face as you race towards that next marker, crossing the finish line of an event that you had longed to compete in, but physically wasn't able to until you had been given a second chance at life. But that's just it, an experience. It doesn't matter whether you win or lose, because regardless, you will be giving the precious gift of experiencing something new, and having the satisfaction of knowing that you have given something your best.
The network of recipients here at Transplant Australia has created a culture where it's okay to mess up, it's okay to fall, and it's okay to fail, because we understand where we all come from. We understand that we're not perfect. We're transplant patients. We've had our ups and downs, and it's just being human. And we're here to catch it, and we're here to make sure that we keep moving forward. We've all felt the scorn of a transplant or a chronic disease, but have chosen to live the life regardless. We've chosen to rise above the challenge, and we understand that to live, you don't have to be perfect. You just need to have a crack. Shoot for the moon, and if you miss, you'll land upon stars. Do what you love and love what you do. After all, we have been given a second chance at life.